Today we're going to dive a little bit further into percentage increase and decrease. Now there's two ways to do this, so we're going to start at the way you would have been taught last year in grade 7. So the first step to find a percentage increase or decrease is to find the amount that it's increasing or decreasing by multiplying the percent by the original number. Now this is like taxes. So you've already seen some tax demonstrations. So this will be a review. So let's say we have something that costs $30 and we want to increase it by 12%, like the tax. So our first method would be to multiply the original number, 30, by the percent. Now, if we recall, we always have to change the percent to its decimal, and that can be done by dividing by 100, because percent is out of 100, or by moving the decimal place over by 2 places. So we multiply it by this number. Once we find out this number, so this number would be 30 times 0.12 would be 3.6 or $3.60. In this case, it's an increase, so we would add it to the original price. So we'd get $33.60. So again, for the step 1 and 2 of percentage increase would be to multiply the original price by the decimal value of the percent and then add it. Now, what happens if it's a decrease? Well, it's very similar. What we need to do if we're decreasing a number, we'll keep 30. Let's say we want to decrease it by 20%. So what we would do, same thing, we take the original number, we would multiply it by the decimal version of 20%, and we would do the same thing. We'd put that into our calculator, 30 times 0.2. So we'd find out that that's 6, so that equals 6. But when we're doing a decrease, that means we have to subtract. So we would do 30 subtract 6, which is 24. So again, to go over that, when we're doing percentage decrease, for the first method that you learned in grade 7, we take the original number, multiply it by the percentage as a decimal, and then subtract it away from the original number. Now, in grade 8, we learn an additional method to figure this out. So, method 2. Since we're going to be increasing or decreasing, the original number would be 100% of the number, right? Anything that is the whole, the original number is 100%. So what we can actually do is we can add or subtract the percentage increase or decrease onto that. So let's say we have a percentage increase of 30%. So what I can do is I can do 100 plus 30. So the original, the whole, plus 30 equals 130%. I can then represent that as a decimal, which would be 1.3. Remember, I'm moving my decimal place over by 2, or dividing by 100. And then all I need to do is multiply this by the original number. So if it was a decrease, we do the same thing. So if I want a percentage decrease of 30%, what we do, because we're going down, this time we need to subtract. So I'd go 100 minus 30 equals 70. And remember, anytime we're doing problems, we have to represent our percentage as a decimal, divide by 100, or I move over by 2. So anything that we're decreasing, it will look like that. So let's do a couple of examples to make this make a bit more sense. So our example is as follows. So let's say we have a length of 30 centimeters and it's increased by 40%. What is the new length? So if we were doing method 1, what we would have to do is we are always going to use this as a decimal, so that would be 0.4. Method 1 would be multiplying the original number by the decimal number to get me that. So 30 times 0.4. So this would be the amount that it's increased. If we're increasing something, that means adding. So I do 30 plus 12. So my new length is 42. If I was doing method 2, remember, an increase is taking 100%, the original price, plus the increase. So I have 140%, or 1.4 as a decimal, moving it over twice, right? And then I multiply that number by the original, and I will also get 42 centimeters. Now, what about a percentage decrease? So let's say we have a mass of something that is 50 grams, and it's decreased by 17%. So again, using method 1, we take the original number and we multiply it by the decimal form of the percent. I find out what that number is, so 50 times 0.17. So we have 8.5. Then what I do, because this is a decrease, I subtract it from the original price. So then I would have 41 and a half. Now, what do we do in method 2? So this is a decrease. We take 100%, that's the original price. We subtract the percentage off, and then we'll have 83%. Its decimal is 0.83. And then what we do is we multiply that by the original price. So this is more like a one-step problem, and step 1 is a two-step problem. So 50 times 0.83 is 41 and a half. So we get the same answer. So both ways work. Doesn't matter to me which way you want to do it. You have to decide that for yourself.